I was born in 1930.
So, but you graduated from Michigan State University.
Yes.
And when does the Korea War kick in? And does that?
All right. Well, when you go to a land grant college like Michigan State, you had to take ROTC 2 years. So I took 2 years ROTC. And then they said that you could take advanced ROTC and get a commission, but you didn't have to. You just had to take the first 2 years. So I decided that I was going to become an officer if I was going into service. So I decided I'd go in the infantry. And a good Jewish friend of mine said, "The infantry? You want to get killed?" I said, "What do they do?" I said, "Well, they do the fighting." And he said, "Quartermaster is what you want." I said, "What's a quartermaster do?" "Well, they handle provisions. They take care of the ammunition, they furnish the ammunition up to the line, and they do things like that." And so I switched and became a quartermaster. So when I graduated, I got a commission as a quartermaster, and I graduated in June 52, and the Korean War was on, and I was called into the service on July 20th, 1952.
And as a commissioned officer,
yes.
Where were you assigned first?
All right, I was sent down to Camp Atterbury, Indiana. And that was a wonderful place because the New York Yankees had that was my team, and they had a farm team in Indianapolis. And so I used to go down there. It was about 30 minutes away. I used to go and see the ball games there. Moose Skowron was one of the players that played for them, and they all got a chance to play with the Yankees. So it was a good place, and I was there until December when I went home. I got married on a 3-day pass, and then...
Well, let's pause for a second.
All right.
You got married. You obviously got married to somebody. Tell me about her.
All right, I married Florence Gustafson, and she was a local girl in Frewsburg. She was a cheerleader. That was before Title IX, so the girls didn't play sports. She and I started going together in 1948. And so in 1952, we got married. I was in the service, and she was at Fredonia College, and but I was a graduate, so I got shipped out.
So quite the honeymoon, 3 days, huh?
That was about it.
Then you're shipped out.
I was sent to Japan. And I went through chemical, biological, and radiological school for 2 weeks at Itajima. Itajima is not too far from Hiroshima. And we had to have gas masks, and we had to be marked, and they'd figure how many Roentgens you got in your body, and they put us through that school and told us what we had to do, and then we went to Sasebo, Japan, and from Sasebo we took the boat out of Sasebo over to Pusan.
Mhm.
And Pusan was in the perimeter. And then I got on the train there, and I was sent up to Seoul. And they put me in the laundry company. It was in the combat zone because we had to wash all of the clothes that came back from the men that were up on the line,
Right.
which was about 30 miles away. So that was my job.
Did you have much interaction with the frontline guys?
I had to go up there. I had to take ammunition up there. That was dangerous. And that was the only contact. You had to take it up and get out of there as fast as you can.
When there was downtime in Korea, did you guys do hunting or play baseball or do anything?
Yeah, after the war was over, I got over there in April of 1953,
Mhm.
and the war ended on June 27, 1953.
Hmm.
So I was there for part of the war. When the war ended, they different outfits started playing baseball. So I sent and got my glove and spikes, and we had uniforms and everything, and it was wonderful playing ball. When you go through, Seoul was really badly shot up, and when you take a look at some of the buildings and today in Ukraine, you get an idea what happened to Seoul, because the Chinese had come down through. First the North Koreans came down through, then they were driven back by the Americans, and then the Chinese came down through. So it had been worked over pretty good.
You got involved in the judiciary proceedings.
Yes.
There. Tell me about that.
All right. Well, you in the service, there's three kinds of court-martial. There's general, and that's for somebody committed like murder, arson, rape, serious felony. And then there's special court-martial, and that's a lesser court-martial. And then there's one by the company commander, and that's a summary court-martial. Well, when people are assigned to a summary court-martial, they're still entitled to have someone represent them. And so I got appointed as a defense counsel for some of these people. And I won a couple of cases, and then they made me a prosecutor. And you know, they were things like sleeping on guard duty or disobeying an officer's order or some things like that. They weren't really serious, but you could get some time out of it.
Now, you had not been to law school at that time, right? You just come out of a...
Yeah, that's when I decided, when I got in those when I got involved, I had no intention of becoming a lawyer. I thought, that's crazy. I was going to be in phys ed. And so I wrote to my father and I said, I'd like to go to law school when I get back out. And would you send me some books? So he did. Sent me a couple of books. And I studied those. And then when I got back, I asked my dad, what do I have to do to get into law school? He said, well, you got to file an application. And so I did. And one of the things you had to have was you had to be recommended by an attorney. So I said, who should I go see? And my dad said, go see Al Olson. Mm-hmm. So I went up to see Al Olson. Al said, well, I guess I'll have to sign it. Your dad signed mine. So he signed a letter of recommendation, and Robert H. Jackson signed my dad's.
Wow.
So.
Great connect. So the aha moment for you to become a lawyer was in Korea.
Yeah.
Wow. What a neat story.